This is where the great Kansans of our time share their secrets for success and a fulfilling life. This week, our guest is an acclaimed music professor who has mentored many generations of young singers. And he continues to be an active and vibrant force in Wichita's arts community. His name is Cecil Riney, and that name is legendary across the campus of Friends University and beyond. The school's Fine Arts building bears his name, honoring Riney's half a century as director of the Singing Quakers Choir. During his tenure, the choir emerged as one of the best in the country. They've performed at such venues as the White House, Lincoln Center, and Carnegie Hall. At the same time, Dr. Riney chaired the university's Fine Arts Department and directed his local church choir, a position he just recently stepped away from. Riney is also involved in a number of local organizations. They include the Salvation Army, Youth Horizons, and the Koch Cultural Trust. Dr. Riney is now reflecting upon his many accomplishments and the many lives he has touched. We have him here for the full half hour, one-on-one, right now. Hello, I'm Victor Hogstrom, and it's a delight to welcome the well-known Dr. Cecil Riney to the program. Thank you, Dr. Riney.
Thank you, Victor.
Now, you are from Liberal, born and raised Kansan in Liberal, Kansas. How did this love for music that you have or had over the years develop?
Well, it was pretty natural, Victor. I was born in Liberal. I went to high school in Stafford, Kansas. My parents were both musicians. My dad was a very good singer, my mother a piano teacher and pianist, and so it was pretty natural for me to develop the love for music. I then came to Friends University and majored in music, and then went on to the University of Kansas, where I also majored in music, and then later moved to Southern California, where I continued the route in choral music.
So you did your bachelor's degree at Friends.
Right.
KU,
Masters at KU.
Masters and PhD.
Doctor of Musical Arts is technically.
Arts. All right. In Southern California.
Right, University of Southern California.
So how did you end up back in Kansas, in Southern California, where the stars are made, as you know?
Yeah.
You would have thought with a doctorate degree in music, you would have been conducting some huge symphony or performing in some wonderful and exciting productions of music. How did it happen? How did you get back?
We were able to perform in several interesting venues. USC has, at that time, a very close relationship with Disneyland and with Walt Disney. And so we did several Christmas concerts out there. I conducted some choirs down near Long Beach. However, after I'd been there a few years, the president of Friends University came to visit some alumni in Southern California. And he asked me if I would come back to Friends University. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, actually, some of those teachers were actually my teachers when I was there. And he said, well, they're the ones who want me to ask you. And so I thought about it for a while and decided then to come back to Wichita, and it's kind of where I belong, probably.
So do you play an instrument yourself?
Not anymore. I did play a trumpet in the high school band, college band. I sang, of course. But play a little piano, but basically I'm a choral director.
So you came back to Friends,
right?
And you did what?
I came back as chair of fine arts and director of the Singing Quakers. I took it as a one-year appointment because I was very, very young. Most of those teachers were my teachers, and I said I'd rather just take a one-year appointment, and then if it doesn't work out, I can leave or you can leave or whatever. But 1 year turned out to be 45. So it was a great experience and a blessed opportunity.
So you've established that you come from a musical family. Your parents were musicians.
Yes.
Your family is a musical family too.
What
is going on? What's in the water?
Yeah, I don't know. But you're right. My wife, Verna, taught piano in our home for many, many years. Doug, our son, was music teacher, choral director at Hutchinson High School, and then Wichita East High School for 17, 18 years. My daughter, our daughter, is Michelle. She is at Trinity Academy, and she's basically a pianist, but an incredible musician. She directs all the vocal music and so forth at Trinity Fine Arts.
Have you heard or have you ever dreamed of the name the Singing Rineys?
No, no, I haven't. Probably we should stay away from that. I'm not that good a singer, probably, not like my children are, but it's fun to be. We did at one time, I think, do a little quartet business at church or for some occasion, but it didn't seem to work out real well.
So who were the famous performers when you were growing up, your mentors, so to speak?
Well, my mentor at Friends University was Fred Mayer. Then I went to KU and Clayton Crable, who was a Kansan. Then I studied with Robert Shaw, a well-known conductor, obviously, for several summers. At University of Southern California, my mentor was Dr. Charles Hirt, H-I-R-T. He was one of the great choral musicians of all time, really. And so I was fortunate and blessed to have several mentors.
So you worked with Friends, working with the Singing Quakers, traveled the world with them.
Basically.
I recall a picture that the 50th anniversary of the Singing Quakers, you traveled to France.
That's right. We traveled actually on our first tour in 1968. We went to Wales, and then London, and then France. And in Wales, we participated in a national choral festival. And then in France, at Orléans. Orléans is a sister city of Wichita. And I don't know if they make as much of it now as they did a few years ago. But we were there, and the mayor greeted us, and we had a great time in Orléans. And then we went on to Italy, sang the great St. Mark's Cathedral in Italy. And so we've been blessed to have a lot of opportunities.
So how does that make you feel, Doc?
Well, old? No. Blessed, actually, to have that many opportunities. And I guess hard work and good background helps.
You really enjoy music, choral music?
I do, very, very much. I directed the Wichita Choral Society when I first came to Wichita. There was no symphony chorus in those days. And we actually performed in the old Forum, which was torn down to make room for the Century II building. And in fact, I conducted the Messiah with the Singing Quakers and my church choir and the Choral Society in the Forum for the last concert that they did before they began tearing it down.
Wow.
And so then we were able to sing one of the opening concerts in New Century II Concert Hall 2 years later.
But you didn't stop with only international tours. You performed with the Quakers at the White House, and President Nixon was president at the time.
Yes, we did. Actually, I got a call to come to the White House and sing for the lighting of the Christmas tree, national event. And then while we were there, they asked us if we could come back and sing for a delegation from England a few weeks later, because they knew that the Quakers actually began in England. And I had to turn that invitation down because we were singing with the Wichita Symphony, and at that time there was no symphony chorus. It was just us. And
now you turned the invitation down to the White House.
I did, unfortunately. Well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but I did, because I had to keep the commitment with the Wichita Symphony, obviously. And the secretary there said, "Don't worry, Dr. Riney, we want you to come back sometime soon, and we'll call you again." And then a couple of weeks later, Watergate happened, and so we didn't get that invitation. But we later sang at the White House with our representative from Wichita as we were going to New York City for our World's Fair. And so we had many wonderful opportunities.
So what is this letter from President Nixon?
Yes, it was just a letter complimenting us on the performance at the White House and the lighting of the tree. And Nixon actually came from Whittier, California,
Right.
as you probably know, and that's where we lived when we went to USC, and very close to his home actually. And so a lot of interesting experiences. 7 international tours to Europe, 1 to Australia, New Zealand, of course Canada and Mexico,
Right.
and so forth.
So what does the Singing Quakers do for Friends University, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's one of the bright lights of Friends University. It's kind of an open door. Many people, because we've been able to sing, for instance, downtown Rotary, we sang 40 straight years at Christmas time. And you know, the English department or history or something really don't have that opportunity quite as much.
That's true.
So it's either the arts or athletics or something that you need to promote, promoting a liberal arts college at least.
So the Quakers, Singing Quakers, would be the ambassadors of Friends University.
That's right, one of the ambassadors at least.
What's the enrollment of Friends?
It's around 1,000 students.
Why hasn't it grown as old as this university is?
Well, it has grown actually. It's kind of gone up and down a little. It grew at one point during my career when the administration introduced evening classes. We were one of the first to do on campus and online evening classes. And so at that time, then the university enrollment doubled practically. And then the other colleges in town got the same idea. And so it's been up and down, but it's been pretty stable, and it's a great school.
On that campus, you have the arts building named in your honor. And you are, fortunately, and happy to say it, still alive. So I hope you are behaving.
I am. I hope so too.
But how did that happen?
Well, actually, when I first retired in 2005, some alumni and the administration decided it would be one way to honor me, I guess, in my heritage there and long years of service. And so they did rename the building. Actually, interestingly enough, I helped raise the funds to build that building in 1965, actually. And we named it Whittier Fine Arts because John Greenleaf Whittier was a well-known Quaker poet and artist. And so I came up with the name Whittier Fine Arts, and it remained that until they changed it. And so as you say, I need to behave or they might change it again.
Yeah, because usually people pass away before, they get that kind of honor.
I know.
And I've seen now 2 in Wichita, one at WSU and one at Friends.
Right.
Yeah. So what has been the highlight of your time leading the Singing Quakers and leading the fine arts community at Friends University?
That's a difficult question. Certainly one of the highlights have been the tours we've taken internationally and the representative way that we've tried to showcase Friends University. And with that comes responsibility. And so, of course, we've recruited hard in order to maintain those standards. And it's been a real blessing to me to be able to serve in that capacity.
What could Wichita be doing better in the field of fine arts, Doctor?
Well, Wichita is known for its support of fine arts, I believe.
Yeah, but what could they be doing better?
Yeah, that's a good question. I suppose supporting financially the arts and supporting the station like KPTS is one way. I think the symphony and music theater and the school system actually in Wichita and surrounding areas has some of the finest music in the Midwest. So we've been very fortunate, I think, and of course any group can always improve.
Yeah, but those programs already exist.
Right.
So the question is, what could be done better to make it even grander? Any new ideas, so to speak, musical?
Well,
arts
musical
ideas?
certainly. Ballet has become very important in Wichita in the last few years. We've had a very strong ballet department at Friends, and certainly other studios in this area. It's hard to say what would help us become better. I think the Wichita Symphony with Daniel Heggie is now reaching out in a way they probably haven't before to perform in a popular vein as well as a very classical area. And it was my privilege to work with Daniel and Andrew Sewell and Zohan Chan, all of those people as directors of the symphony, and all added a great deal to the program.
So what types of music do you enjoy other than choral music? Rap music, for instance?
No, I don't think I'm...
Country music? No?
Well, I can take country music, but yeah. Choral, instrumental, church music.
Church music?
Sure. I'm really not that much of a snob when it comes to music, as long as it's done well.
Right.
And we sang actually one time on a tour at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. Right, on a Saturday night with those country stars, you know. And some people thought that was a little strange, but it was fun. We enjoyed it, and we had some students there at that time, and they enjoyed it. And so we've sung in a lot of venues.
So with everything that you've done throughout your life, what is it that you want to accomplish in the world of music that you haven't done?
Oh, Victor.
Anything at all?
You're coming in difficult questions. I think I've done about as many exciting things as I probably can do. I'm sure I know I could improve in any of these areas. And I think that some of us hopefully keep improving as we gain more wisdom and experience and so forth. And so I just like to take any challenge that comes my way and do the best I can with it.
You know, you do take on challenges because you conducted just recently, you were working in 3 places at once, conducting 3 singing groups. Tell us about those.
Well, yes, I was doing the Wichita Symphony Chorus. I had an alumni choir of about 60, 70 people.
From Friends?
Yes, all Singing Quaker alumni. So I would do the symphony chorus on Thursday night, the alumni choir on Monday night, and my church choir on Wednesday night. But it kept me out of trouble, and I enjoyed it immensely.
So, Dr. Riney, you are very active, but what have you learned about growing older?
Hopefully grace and a little wisdom, and hopefully we can empower and encourage other people. When I haven't been maybe conducting as many concerts as I once did, I hope to encourage others. And so I suppose I think as we grow older, if we can encourage as much as possible, it's a real trait that I want to help develop.
And again, I come back to this phrase, in view of all that you've achieved in your life, music-wise and otherwise, nice family, what is the meaning of life today for Cecil Riney?
Well, I think I've kind of touched on it here. Family is certainly one of the greatest meanings of my life. My children, my wife, my grandchildren, many of them are in music. I shouldn't say many, I don't have that many, but several of them are. Katie, my oldest granddaughter, won all kinds of piano awards when she was in high school and college. She's now the wife of a basketball coach in Dallas, Texas, North Texas State. Doug, of course, and Michelle are both teachers. So I guess the legacy of encouragement and helping family and being thankful for the family I have, both my immediate family and friends also.
What makes Cecil Riney happy?
Well, I think all of the above, basically. My family, my faith, churches, many activities, of course musical and otherwise, make me happy.
Do you play music in your home all day?
I don't know all day. My wife generally has some recordings going in the morning when we get up and eat breakfast. Nowadays, if I'm not working one of the 2 or 3 jobs, I go to the YMCA and work out for a couple of hours. And I've done that now for several years, and that kind of keeps me energized. And
So if I were to come to your home unexpectedly, what can I expect to see or to find?
well, you could probably find, it depends on the time of day, of course. As I said, my wife almost always has music going. She taught piano in our home for many years.
Right.
I would come home from Friends University, and she'd be teaching down in her studio downstairs. And we had many students in our home through those days. Ernest Alexander, Youth Horizon,
Right.
was one of my early students. Andre Thomas, who's head of choral music at Florida State University. Kevin Fenton. They're all great friends and former students.
So what makes Cecil Riney sad?
Losing a good friend. Just a few weeks ago, we lost a lady who was very dear to our family, who was a singing Quaker, a doctor's wife here in town, Laurie Hoppick. Great pianist. She studied piano with my wife through junior high and high school. So I suppose, but that, I shouldn't say that it makes me sad, because we miss those, but we know they're better off than struggling through the cancers and so forth.
I know one moment that really brought tears to your eyes was the ailment of your wife.
Yes, of course. She was very, very active, always supporting me, having many students and faculty in our home every year, practically for 40-some years. And she became ill with, she had open heart surgery, and has done well, but it's taking a while to recover. And she and I used to go to KU to basketball games for years, and that had to kind of halt.
Right.
But
she's doing better.
She's doing better.
And that's good news.
And that's great news.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah. So is there anything that you were sure about when you were younger, growing up, anything that you were sure about that you have changed your mind about today?
I'm more sure today about things than I was when I was younger.
Of course.
You know.
You're wiser.
I hope so.
So what were you sure about earlier that you changed your mind about to today?
I think earlier I was pretty sure that I had a musical talent of some kind, obviously. I had a musical family and background. I directed choral music at, of course, a lot of churches here in Wichita. I started directing church choirs when I was like a sophomore in college, and then I came back to Wichita, and I went to First Presbyterian Church downtown, and the downtown area was more vibrant maybe than it has been since. And then finally ended my career at Eastminster Presbyterian Church, in Chapel Hill, United Methodist. So been a lot of different churches that I've had the privilege of serving in.
So what changes have you made that you were not sure about yesteryears that you're so sure about today?
Well, I think health is very important, and taking care of one's self, one's gifts. I think even a few years ago, I probably was spread a little bit too thin, doing too many choirs probably.
Right.
But it seemed to work out somehow with God's help.
You know, there's a saying that says, the wise man changes.
Yes.
So you were wise, in other words.
I hope so.
Yes. So how would you define Cecil Riney? Who is he?
Boy, these were questions I hadn't thought about. I hope that people understand that I love family, faith, arts, pretty well-rounded, I think. I enjoy jazz, I enjoy symphonies, I enjoy music theater, obviously. I've been on those boards and enjoy serving as much as I can on various boards here in the city. And so I think, as I said, I think faith and family are the most important things in my life, and maybe the encouragement that I can give others at this point.
So how has your work changed lives?
Well, I hope there again that through music, and choral music particularly, sacred music, lives can be changed and maybe have been changed. Not that everything we do is sacred music.
Right.
We did Symphony of Spring for 40-some years, but even then, that particular program was enjoyable for us, enjoyable for those who attended, hopefully inspirational, and so these have been opportunities which I've tried to make the most of and enjoy, and hopefully have inspired others. We've had a lot of students, as I mentioned a minute ago, who've gone on to high schools and colleges and universities, and it's been a privilege to even be a part of their lives.
So with all that you've done, Dr. Riney, throughout your life, looking at your overall experience in totality, what concerns you today about our community and our world?
I think we have too much divisiveness in our world. We don't understand each other as much as we should. We don't love each other as much as we should. And I'm not, I don't mean to be political at all. I think we need to take stands, and we need to not waver on various issues that we sometimes do. But I think it's great that we have the opportunity to serve, and I hope that we can work toward bringing peace, working toward bringing people together, not in a superficial way, but
right.
in a real honest way of loving each other and loving the talents and the opportunities each other has. But so I just hope to be a small part of that.
Dr. Cecil Riney, world traveler, music conductor, teacher, and family man, thank you so much.
My privilege.
For joining us one-on-one.
All right.
It's been a pleasure having
Thank you. It's been my honor.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this edition of One-on-One. Send your questions or comments to oneonone@kpts.org. Until next time, I'm Victor Hogstrom, and I'll see you again soon with another interview one-on-one. Thanks for watching.